Alright, hello everyone, my name is Shep, welcome back to the Butcher's Circus, and today we are gonna be playing with the king, we are gonna be playing with the Leper, the one and only. So it has been a couple days since the last video, that's because I had a bit of a rough weekend, didn't really have my laptop over, it was kind of borderline impossible for me to make videos, but I am back now and back on schedule. And the first match, we're gonna go up against a Bellobot. Looks like the Butcher's Circus never changes. Now, I'm quite surprised because this is a counter pick. My opponent has a lot of protection, they have healing, they have a Vestal in the back, which would usually get disrupted by a damage team, but I don't have Come Hither, so I can't really disrupt that Vestal. She's just going to freely heal and also annoy me. My opponent also went first, so they could have gone for the Block of Light. And the Prot plus the Battle Debuffs kind of completely nullify your Leper. It's one of his biggest weaknesses, apart from all his other weaknesses, such as the DOT, getting pushed, getting characters behind him pulled, you know, stress, everything is his weakness pretty much. But, you know, we still love him, right? Because every once in a while he's going to pull off a crit shot and it's going to be absolutely epic. So I'm going to just drop a Revenge you, kind of eat one of the Battle Debuff turns. Thankfully you do have an Arbalist in the Goliath comp, it's what this team is called. Named after a cool guy named Clug Goliath. He's never played the Butcher's Circus again, used to stream it way back in the day. Like, really way back in the day, like 3 years ago back in the day, 3 years and a couple months, and wow, that is very disappointing Arbalist damage. I rolled for 9. Yeah, I guess that's what happens when you don't bring the stabilizing tiller, you just roll for 9. Funnily enough, that could have been a crit for like 23, which would have resulted in me dropping a Dirk Stab and being ready to finale pretty much the next turn. So that would have been really cool, but since that's not what happened, then well, yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. Do I want to Battle Ballad? It is odd, but I feel like I want to, because I think I'm actually going to Battle Ballad. I'm looking at that 93% hit chance, now imagining, well, the Leper is gonna have it even worse than that. If my opponent actually decides to drop Pulsar here, me not dropping a Battle Ballad would have been a huge mistake. But yeah, now they dropped the Bolster after I dropped the Battle Ballad, so that's definitely not worthwhile. But, you know, what can you do about it? I can actually Flare here to get rid of the stun as well, but I'm gonna wait on it a bit. I think the Crusader is a more important character to take out. Is it, though? The Man-at-Arms is quite strong here, and 16 to 30 it's a bit more damage. 20 would chip away pretty much half his HP. If he had the Pit Fighter's Helm as well, this front line would be pretty much unkillable. All that would need to happen would be for the Crusader to drop Blurk of Light, and then, you know, there's literally nothing I can do. But thankfully, my opponent is like Novice or something. Their name is Nario, and they probably don't even have 2 Pit Fighters now, because when you start off in the Butcher's Circus, you only have 1 of each trinket. Even the basic trinkets, you only have 1 of each. Oh no, it is here. There's the Pit Fighters now. Never mind. Silly Shepherd. But yeah, I still feel like they're missing out on some of the trinkets, but they do have the Insignia of Rank, which means they're at least like Prestige 12, if I remember correctly. Yeah, if I remember correctly. So now I'm hoping that they go for their Vestal, try to stun my Jester, get it off, but then I just flare and everything's cool. There goes the Block of Light, as expected, and yeah, I'm just going to flare here. One thing they can do after I flare is just, you know, stun my Crusader again, which wouldn't be too much fun, but yeah. Not really too much I can do about it. They're actually, no, they're gonna go for the smart move, they're gonna go for the Divine Grace, and yeah, that heals for 18. I don't do 18 damage. With a crit I would, but that's the only way, and yeah. Yeah, this is kind of what I was worried about. This might just be the worst possible thing I could have run into with this team. It is very good that my opponent isn't fully optimized, but you can see just how much the Goliath comp can struggle. Every other Mark team, every other damage team would have pretty much chewed through this quite quickly. They would pull the Vestal. If they didn't have a pull, they would Mark something. It would have done pretty well. But the way this is going, it is being a bit more rough. But here we go. There's a crit shop. Now they can still heal, but I have no bellow debuffs on me at the moment because my opponent is in doubt and not bellowing it out. That's what you're supposed to do. If you're in doubt, you bellow it out. Thankfully for me, my opponent is not doing that, and it is casually just throwing the match. I'm gonna do 14 damage here, and the only way for my opponent to save the Man-at-Arms now would be to stun my Crusader or move. No, moving the man at arms wouldn't work. If you move him back 2 positions or just 1 position, it would work. Or if you try to slam the Leper here, it would also work. But yeah, sadly for my opponent, they don't do that. So I'm just going to drop a Zealous here, followed by a Dirk Stab, and potentially get a Death Blow. They could still stun my Jester if they feel so inclined to, but they don't have a guaranteed hit chance. They also don't have a guaranteed stun chance, but if you don't get a 95 on this Jester, then, you know, you might as well just surrender, because the Ringed Mommy does not want you to win. So I'm taking a bit of DOT here, but honestly nothing too bad. I'm just gonna go Courageous on the Crusader anyway, don't worry about it. And I don't get the Death Blow, which is actually quite unfortunate, because now my opponent can heal again. Please don't get a crit Divine Grace. that would be quite terrible. Thankfully it's not a crit Divine Grace. I do have a Battle debuff on me. You know what my opponent should have done? Instead of going for the battle, they could have... Oh no, they don't have guards. Never mind, they don't have guards. I have to go for the chop here. My Hue just doesn't do enough damage. These characters are just too tanky. And even though it's just like basic levels of prod versus 1 battle debuff, I'm already struggling against just a 1 heal, right? And of course, if you're taking 2 actions to bring a character down to 0 after 1 heal, you're definitely losing the match, so I can't really allow that to happen. Maybe I should have Holy Lanced first. Honestly, I probably should have Holy Lanced first, but this is fine. Let's go for the Dirk Stab here. There's things I can still do that kind of mitigate my mistake here. Another thing I can do is just go for the Rally to the Flame on the Arbles, get rid of the battle debuffs, and then shoot the Vestal, because I don't care about the protection, and then be ready to Finale at the start of next turn, because I already have 4 damage buffs. That is quite a bit. I might go Virtuous here. That is a possibility. I have that 30% chance from the Sacred Blade. Are we gonna see it? I think this might be the first Resolve check since I've returned, on the Crusader at the very least. So it would be quite cool to get a Virtue, but honestly I don't see it happening. My opponent is a Novice, which means they have Novice RNG. So it's probably not happening. I go Fearful, which is the best thing you could have hoped for. And I go Vigorous, which is definitely OP. Okay, I do get a Virtue. Not the best one, mind you, but still a very, very good Virtue to get here. What does Vigorous give you, you ask? Well, with Vigorous, if you go first, you get plus 40% damage. Yeah, that's right. You also get... what else do you get with Vigorous? Isn't Vigorous Dodge one? Doesn't Vigorous give you plus 10% dodge or something like that? I think it was. Why is it not going up then? That's a bit suspicious. I can go for the Finale here, I think. Oh, I have 2 battle debuffs on there. Oh, we roll for the crit. Okay, it's perfectly fine. But yeah, other than that, it just gives you a chance. I think it's a 25% chance to heal 10% of your max HP. Whenever you act with your character, which can be very, very clutch if you're doing like a 1v2 or something with Crusader, like extremely clutch if you do get that going. So this is just gonna be a stunning blow turn for sure. I'm doing 0 damage, but I mean he's gonna go down eventually, right? Yeah, it shows dodge, and like it shows that the stat is yellow, which means that it should be buffed, but it's not buffing it. I've seen it go up to 7. I don't know why it is, and that's 7 here. Maybe I can't tell, honestly. I can't tell. I don't know what the reasoning behind that was, or what the reason behind it not giving dodge here is, but I am pretty sure it does give you like plus 10% dodge, which is practically meaningless in 99% of scenarios, but you know, it's still funny that it's there. It is quite funny. I am gonna go first here with Crusader just so we see the plus 40% damage in action. I'm gonna stun him for like 5 instead of 4. But yeah, I don't even want to go first with the Crusader. That's kind of the problem here. Ah, but it's okay. Let's show it. Yeah, plus 40% from Virtue. See that? There's the self-heal as well. It kind of doesn't save me here, but it's alright. I'm just gonna drop a Zealous. Look at the damage on the corpse though, 17. Yeah, without the 70% prot, the Crusader would be kind of just demolishing everything here. I get to just go for a free chop now. The protection does go away. Some of the protection does go away. I'm just going to drop the Bola and the Dirk Stab, and this Crusader will finally be going down. Just look at how strong protection is. And this actually happened in the last tournament that I played in. I'm not sure if I was playing with the Goliath comp, Actually, no, I think I was playing with the Goliath comp, and my opponent was Silak, and he just picked kind of like a Crusader, Flagellant, Man-at-Arms, Grave Robber team. So this pretty defensive team that had a dodge character, and then the Man-at-Arms was just guarding, Crusader was dropping Bulwarks, and it was so difficult for me to win that match. I didn't. Yeah, it was so difficult you didn't win it, Jeff. Good job. But it was so difficult for me to even play that match because I had no way of pressuring my opponents if they actually got that prot up. Even though I was trying my best to still like chip away at them, it was very difficult because this is one of my team's biggest weaknesses, and it's sad because you really like the Leper. Everyone likes the Leper. He's a really cool character, but he suffers from some of the biggest weaknesses in the Butcher Circus in terms of matchups, because that's all the Butcher Circus is. It's just matchups, pretty much. You win some matchups pretty hard, you lose some matchups pretty hard, and they decide a lot of what your gameplay experience is going to be like. Of course, there's also RNG, there's also what you actually do with your team, so those things do have influence too, but a lot of the Butcher Circus is just going to be, oh, I'm playing this team versus that team, I've lost. I preemptively lost. I am on the losing seat now. I have to go for some wacky plays to try and win this one. My opponent's doing 0 damage, and it's hilarious. It is actually hilarious. I can't do anything here. Come on, self-heal. 25. There we go. It's massive. It's massive that it's a 25% chance that you actually get that heal. It is crazy. With the Courageous, you get also 25 to heal the other characters for 5, which is decent. With what do you call it? With the Stalwart, you have like a 25 to heal yourself for 10 stress, which is honestly really, really meaningless. I mean, it is helpful, but the impact that Courageous has over it. Did I rant in the previous video about Courageous? I'm not sure if I actually did or not. I know I have ranted in one of the recent videos about it. Thankfully, I have not yet seen it. Yeah, very thankfully. What is that one that gives you 15 prot? Is it Stalwart? I think Stalwart's the one that gives you 15 prot, but the thing is, Stalwart... Oh, yeah, that's fun. Stalwart does this thing where, you know, supposedly it's an anti-stress. It's an anti-stress virtue, so you get that minus 10 stress each time you click if you're lucky, which is pretty nice, right? It's pretty nice. And against damage, it gives you 15 prots, and I mean, it's also nice, but neither of those are broken to the point that it feels unplayable for the opponent. Even if you're playing a stress team and your opponent goes Stalwart, it's definitely going to be worse than if they went Afflicted, way worse for you than if they went Afflicted, but it's not a complete game breaker in that situation. Same thing with Vigorous. Even if you're playing a damage team, if the enemy Crusader magically gets a heal, like, it's going to be pretty annoying, but it doesn't feel unplayable. It's just, you know, they got a free turn out of that, but, you know, maybe they missed their stun or something. Could happen, and then the bounce of power goes right back to where it was. But if you're playing Stress and you go against Courageous, usually with Stress teams, you're trying to win to get your opponent to heart attack, so that immediately becomes 33% harder, because that's what that virtue does, minus 33% stress taken, which is just wild. And alternatively, if you can't stress a character out, you usually try to DOT them, but guess what? Virtues give you 25% resistances. So what can you do? You can pray, my man. You can pray that your opponent doesn't get Courageous. And if they do get it, well, you can just... there's always the white flag up there, right? Which is what my opponent should have clicked ages ago, because I have a Vigorous Crusader. There's literally nothing they can do. But you can see this was still quite close. If this Abomination had Wretch's Cloak, and my opponent didn't do a misplay or two, there's no way I would win this match. It is just a horrible counter pick that I've subjected myself to. But thankfully, with the power of Sacred Blade and with the power of what do we call it, game knowledge, I do manage to take the W here, and we go on to match number 2. Alright, and here we go straight into a match number 2, and it looks like this time we're going against WD from Formidable. This is a veteran person which seems to be running the correct variation of the Bounty Hunter. I see caltrops, I love it. I see exotic stuff on the Arbalest, I do not love it, but I don't believe they have all the trinkets. They seem to have Numbing Incense, kind of some weird picks, but it looks like they're doing the best with what they got, and you know, that is all that you can ask for in this situation. So, one thing I'm gonna go for here is, Chef, that's an 84! Why would you do that? Well, the thing is, my opponent might have more stun resistance, but I have 2 stun trinkets, and even though I went first, because they have the numbing instance, they have a little less dodge, just a teeny tiny bit less dodge. And I'm gonna try to abuse that to get a stun off there and get a little bit of damage on this Crusader, rather than have a little bit of damage be dealt to me, which I definitely wouldn't appreciate. Now, I do have the exotic stuff on my Leper, so it's not too likely that he's gonna be stunned by, you know, 1 stun trinket, 1 stun trinket, and it's also not too likely that he gets pushed by 1 move trinket, so I should be relatively okay in this situation, but you know, only relatively. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I am going to drop the Revenge here, which is a bit risky, because what my opponent could do right now is just transform Rage and Sniper Shot. Probably what I would do in this situation, transform Rage, Sniper Shot, but they're going all in on this dodge Jester. I would personally not do that. Yeah, I personally wouldn't really do that. I do have a lot of damage here on the Arbalest. I could shoot this Crusader and just pass my Jester turn. The Jester might very well miss. Yeah, the Jester might very well miss. We just passed the Jester turn. But Chef, you could have gotten rid of the mark and the stun with the same ability. He's not gonna get shot, okay? He's in position 1, he's staying in position 1. I'm gonna get shot, thankfully it doesn't hurt. And I'm also gonna drop a shot, thankfully it does hurt. It hurts a lot! So this Crusader is gonna go down to 0 by the start of next round, because I'm going to heal in this situation. My opponent's pretty much lost here. No, what can they do? Well, here's what they can do. They can go for the stun on the Jester, try to do it again, and possibly miss. Oh, I think they just surrendered. I think they just surrendered. I do think they just surrendered. You know what, you finale. I would pass as well, but you're playing WD. You don't get that. You don't get that benevolence from me. But Shep, you had a 60%. Yeah, that is just the power of you know, getting a crit sniper shot against a WD player. It's gonna destroy their mental. Are they finally playing it? No, they're just passing. They're manually passing. Oh god, and another one. Yeah, it is just a bit unfortunate, you know. You go second with WD, you get stunned on an 84% hit chance. You pretty much min-roll with your Arbalest. Your Crusader gets hit by a crit 26. What can you do in this situation, right? There's really nothing you can do. One thing they could have done is like healed with the Arbalest. That's what I would have done. If they healed with the Arbalest, they could have gotten a crit heal. If they did that, I would have to go for a Holy Lance. And the Holy Lance would put my Leper out of position, so it would basically be a gamble that, you know, I need to get the kill this turn. And I would basically have to gamble on the Abomination just going Manacles and missing, or the Abomination going Manacles and not getting the stun or whatever. That's what had to happen there. But they definitely could have still pulled this off. WD is not a team that you know, do this with. It's not a team that you surrender with. It is not over until it's Jover, and I don't think it was Jover for my opponent here, but it's definitely Jover in terms of their mental. I don't know why they just keep passing and don't surrender. So it's easier to do that, right? I guess you don't want to have that round 2 surrender on your mind, I suppose, but. Yeah, I'm not going to pass here either. It's just a WD. I'm not going to pass against WD. WD players don't deserve that respect, you know. At least that's what I feel like. It's just going to be a Zealous into Dirk Stab, into Sniper Shot, into, you know, everything. Oh, you know what would be really mean here? Thankfully I'm not like that, but it would be really mean to just heal myself at this point. Yeah, that would be exceptionally mean. I know some people that would do that, but I am not one of them, thankfully. I don't take enjoyment out of making people's lives slightly more miserable than they already could be. But yeah, it's just going to be a chop into the Holy Lance, into the Sniper Shot, into the Dirk Stab. And GG's to my opponents. They need to work on their mental. They could have still won this, which is what makes this sad, but I'm still glad that the Goliath comp just pulled their weight and is going to get a W here. But yeah, kind of interesting of them not to surrender. I fail all the death blows here. That was a 15 into what, a 55? No, 15 into a 40 into a 55 into an 80. I just miss all of them. Do you resist 95? No, you did not. So let's go on for match number 3. Alright, and here we go for a match number 3, this time against Space Alien, which is a champion opponent, who seems to be running a very squishy team with a lot of disruption. This looks like a fun thing to play Goliath comp into. Yeah, quite fun to play with this team that's very easily disruptible and hates disruption against this team that is having a fun time disrupting you. Yeah, well, we'll see how this works. Usually against bully teams, you kind of just need to survive the onslaught for a bit, because as they bully you, they're kind of not going for their win condition. If they have all the moves to bully you, and none of them are actually progressing their win condition, but in this situation they can still like transform slam, they can do this, they can do that. They're still doing stress with all these moves, but you know, I'm hoping that I can somehow just pull through in this situation. I'm going to drop the revenge here, kind of just pass my turn, but that's what you have to do with the Leper. 95, maybe not even 95, yeah, I'd say like 98% of the, oh god, to the very front and days as well. Oh Jesus. Why don't we nerf Plague Doctor already? Like to the very front. And oh my god, it's a complete disaster. Yeah, it's already looking absolutely miserable. I'm moving back twice here. They're just gonna push my Leper now or stun my Arbalest. You know, anything works here. It's just horrible to play against this. And they have 1, 2, 3, 4 heals on their team, so this is gonna be really fun to play into. Even if I bring one of their characters down to 0, I'm still having a rough time here. They stun my Jester in this situation, which fair enough, and I might go for a cure, I might go for a chop. We go for the chop. Yes, that's enough damage. Okay, we get some pressure going here, because now they have to spend a turn healing, which is a lot of pressure for me. They have to spend a turn healing instead of going aggressive. They're gonna drop the Divine Grace. They do have one healing trick, and they get a 19 on it, which is the max roll. I despise it, but you know, what can I do about it? I can go for the Holy Lance and get a crit 27! There we go, there's the crit we wanted. Now the Occultist is right back down to 0. Sadly, I'm not in position to stun him and get rid of his heal. Surprisingly, they don't go for the Plague Doctor heal. They go for the self-heal with the Silver Syringe and get the max roll. They rolled for 24 and then got an extra 32 to 32, and yeah, it's just... yes, that's how I feel right now. I feel like the Clash Royale King. I feel like spamming that emoji. The good old days of spamming in the Clash Royale. That was fun. Disorienting Blast. Do they get it again? Yeah, to position 2. And the days as well. Oh my god, man! I cannot be losing against this team. This is so annoying. Like, first match, complete counter pick. Second match, I was playing against WD. I got lucky. I won. Third match, complete counter pick. It's just, the team has so much weaknesses. So many weaknesses, champ English. And yeah, it just feels unfun. What can I say about it? Oh, they put my Leper back in position. Yes, I can win now. I can win now. They're playing well too, let's be honest. They're playing this about as well as you could. But I'm going to go for the Hue here, get a little bit of damage off. My one hope in this situation is that my opponent is greedy and goes for the self-heal now with the Occultist. That would be quite greedy, because there is a 5% chance that you roll for 0. And if I do get that 5%, I'm probably gonna get to 60, and I'm gonna win the match, which is what I want. So they go for the Divine Grace first. 18, massive heal, and just, oh god. Not having disruption feels so terrible here. I Holy Lance, he's going down to 0 when he acts, but it's still gonna be a while until that happens. He doesn't have to do it. They can just go for the Abomination turn, like... I don't know, stun my Arbalist in this situation. There's definitely a few things you can do here. They could even de-transform a heal, honestly. There's just so many good plays. They could stun my Crusader. Everything hurts me. Everything hurts me at this point. But yeah, it is just a bit unfortunate for me that I cannot bully them with the quote-unquote bully team. They're just going to stun my Arbalist very well. That does make sense, and I'm just going to Dirk Stab the Abomination here, do a little bit of damage onto him. Maybe a misplay, maybe I should have moved to position 1. Maybe that would have been the preferable move, to just move to position 1 and have that finale at the ready, but I feel like starting the next round with a Q, because that's going to be 2 characters down to 0, you know. And I was a bit worried that the Hue could min roll and it wouldn't deal enough damage. That's what I was worried about. They're gonna pull the Jester. Ah, they're gonna vulnerability X him. Oh! The immediate death blow, of course, the 25. Oh, the justice. It is overwhelming, isn't it? Yeah, there is no justice in this world. I'm going to drop the Hue here. That's 2 characters at this store. You know what? We can still do this. We can still do this. They're playing with this team. Once these characters go down, there's nothing they can do. They're screwed. These 2 backliners versus my Crusader, yeah, how do you think that's going down? The way it's going down is they're gonna get perma-stunned, chap. And there's no Noxious Blast. So yeah, it is doable. It is doable. Come on. The thing is, they can't use Disorienting Blast anymore because that will clear the corpses. They also can't use Demon's Pull because it will clear the corpses. Oh, they potentially sacrifice the Abomination. I'm gonna go for the 50-50. I have Finisher on my Arbalist. I go Selfish. Jesus. All Selfish. Do not fail me, okay? There we go. There we go, that's what I wanted, that's what I needed. We get the Abomination out of the match. It is a 1-for-1, but I do have a lot of stress on my Arbalist, which is unfortunate, and she's also not in the correct spot. But the thing is, the more of my characters that die, as well as the opponent's characters also die, the better this gets. You know, they still have 3 heals, which is really freaking annoying. But they don't have comfort, so they kind of have to be in a weird spot with this vessel. It is surprising that they have Judgment. You know, it's personally not what I would run here. I would just run Comfort, but you know, it's their team. They probably climbed all the way to what do you call it? They probably climbed all the way to champion playing with this thing, because it seems very thought out. You know, it doesn't feel like they just put this together. They just put this together right now. I feel like they've been cooking this up for a fair bit. So I have a bit of a choice to do. Either I chop the vessel down to 0, or I go for the Hue to potentially get rid of the corpse in 2 rounds. But I think I'm gonna go for the... I wanted to go for the chop, but... It's really not enough damage. That's really not enough damage. He died round 4, let's remember that. He died round 4. They're gonna go for the Dazzling Light. So there goes my Crusader turn. Unfortunate. I could flare here to get my Crusader turn back, and honestly that's probably the move. Yeah, that's probably the move to do here. Let's just drop the flare, get the Crusader turn up and running again, and drop a Holy Lance with him. Could do enough damage to the vessel. Yes, plus healing skills on the Occultist right now with the Silver Syringe. It could still heal for 0, plus healing skills on 0 is still 0. But yeah, let's hope that's the case, or let's hope that he rolls for like 3 and instead of a 3 he heals for 5, you know. Minus 20 accuracy. I did drop a Battle Ballad, so my hit chance is still good. I'm gonna go for the Vessel here because that's my best hit chance. So let's just do that and pray that he doesn't heal for 19,671. He heals for 15. That's honestly perfectly fine because I can just drop a Hue here, and that is almost guaranteed to drop it down to 0. I get the crit on the wrong character, but I'm not complaining. I'd rather get a crit than no crit. At least it's also plus accuracy. Yeah, look at the accuracy I got. Oh, massive. Revenge plus Battle Ballad. You just don't miss. Yeah, you just don't miss. You're gonna go weird construction here. 17, that's a bit much. That is a bit much. But it's okay. I will just go for the stun in this situation. That's their damage gone. And what I will do here, depending on what they do, is... what I want to do is shoot the Occultist, right? They go for the Plague Doctor turn first, which means that they're gonna go for the Disorienting Blast on the Arbalist, but they don't. They go for the Disorienting Blast on the Crusader, which is risky. It is quite risky, because now I might get Virtuous, which I don't. I go Rational, unfortunate. Where's my Vigorous when I need it? And that also means that now I can potentially even shoot the Vessel and go for the Death Blow next round. But I don't want to do that. I want to shoot the occultist and go for the death blow on him next round. Yeah, that's what I want to do. If they do drop the disorienting blast on my arbalist here, she will go out of position, but I will go for the 50-50 here, and I do get it, which is massive. This is GG, they can't win anymore. Why? The corpse will be gone in a couple turns. I have a Leper with Hugh and 2 Solemnities left, and I have a Crusader who's ready to stun. He's also ready to stun his own team, let's keep that in mind, but he's also ready to stun the enemy team. So this should pretty much be GG at this point, and this kind of just what you have to do. You kind of just have to endure the punishment that the bully team does to you, and eventually it's gonna get to a certain point in the match that, you know, if you were able to at least throw a couple punches back, then you will still be able to win, despite how freaking how terminal this is, how horrible this is to play into. Yeah, it felt horrible the entire freaking match. My Leper getting knocked around. He wasn't even getting pushed. I have exotic stuff here and it was useless. Let's keep that in mind. I had to move around with my characters and this was still useless because his biggest weakness isn't even getting pushed. It's the rest of the team getting disrupted. Which is why sometimes you see him with characters that can move back, like with a Grave Robber, with a Shield Breaker, but I personally don't like it. I feel like he doesn't really synergize a lot with those characters. The team is always going to end up looking a bit weird, in my opinion, so I'd rather just bring him with the Crusader, because Crusader is a really solid character, even though they're kind of anti-synergy, because if the Chaser goes to position 1, the Crusader can't Holy Lance. But that's still okay sometimes, because the Crusader can spend a turn dropping Rally to the Flame, he can delay the Holy Lance, and just wait for the finale to come through. You know, there's definitely a few things that can still happen. So here I will drop just a Hue into a Bullet. Yeah, there's really no reason not to drop Hue into Bullet here. Let's do that. I was thinking maybe Bullet for the death one, then go for the chop, but honestly at this point it's GG and my opponent is just in denial. There's no way I lost with my disruption team against a Leper. There's no way. Yeah, you did. And now they surrender. Yeah, the Plague Doctor's in position 1. She did have Incision, but you know, even though I have 3 afflictions on me, that's not gonna matter. So anyway, hope y'all enjoyed today's video. That's 3 W's for the Goliath comp. 3 very hard fought W's in my opinion. But hope y'all enjoyed it, and I'll see you again another time. Cheers.